Playing Wizard in Baldur's Gate 3 as a beginner may be the quickest way to quit the game. And I can speak with so much conviction on this because I have played with two friends who have tried this game and have quit on Wizard at the exact same spot. That spot right after you defeat the Tieflings or save Lae'zel in a fancy way, and you get right up to go into the crypt and they just go, nope, I don't want to do it no more. So in this video, we're going to go into what I learned from with my 2-hour trial with my friend in the game, him trying it. Also, we're going to go into some potential good classes to get your friend into, or someone else, or maybe even you trying the game for the first time in Baldur's Gate 3. Let's start with one of the biggest problems with picking the wizard class, and its sheer amount of options it has in the game. You have spell slots, you have cantrips, you have regular attacks with your weapons, the weapons have regular attacks. So this makes your bar pretty crazy. That action, you can use a cantrip or a spell slot, or you can hit someone with a weapon attack. The way I see it, an action is what you do and a bonus action is completely optional. What I've learned from playing with people is doing nothing or not having something to do causes confusion because they want to attack. They want to do something. They feel like, well, if I'm not doing anything, I'm not contributing to the team, or this person on my party is useless. Why does that guy have a useful bonus action and you don't? Even though I believe doing nothing is a totally valid action because not messing things up can totally help your team, not everyone feels like that. So I have a class suggestion for someone who thinks like that, who wants to do something on their action and their bonus action every turn. Actually, I have 3 because I learned people love choices. You have the Barbarian, where you can use your bonus action to rage and then attack the enemy. You have the Ranger, where you can use Hunter's Mark to mark your opponent and then attack the enemy with your bow, dealing bonus piercing damage. And finally, you have Eldritch Blast, where you can hex your potion with your bonus action and hit them with your cantrip Eldritch Blast to deal force damage and necrotic damage to your opponent. And I just so happen to be doing a will build anyway, so it depends on which type of warlock you're doing, but I would suggest something that can cover both melee and range, because if someone gets close to you, you want something to do instead of using the action disengage. And then Eldritch Blast is an all-tool multi-purpose thing, and we're gonna go through the first 2 levels because actually Warlock is super important for the first 2 levels. But for this in particular, Hexblade is super powerful, but I'm doing like a lore heavy thing, so I'm doing a Fiend Warlock for Will. And Command is a great control spell, but I'm not really using my action to control people with spell slots. Hex is the spell I was just talking about, and it's important to know. I like having a reaction as well. It would be shield with Hexblade, but with Fiend, it's going to have to be Hellish Rebuke for the time being. I'll be boom, Hellish Rebuke, and then Hex as my 2 spells. For my stat spread, I like just going really, really deep into the optimization of it a little bit, like this. And I love going 1-1 into 18 charisma and 16 constitution. Be warned, if you do this stat spread, you will have negative saving throws against these checks, and I would get geared to help you against that. Saving throws is basically, are you going to get hit with the full damage of a lightning bolt or half damage? Are you going to get mind controlled or not? And you roll a dice to see if you are, and if you do, let's just say you don't want that, okay? So you want to always save if possible. You want to see saved all the time. And just for Warlock, we're going to go with level 2 because it's important. Because the evocations it's sort of a no-brainer for me, because you go Armor of Agathis into Agonizing Blast into Repelling Blast. This adds your proficiency modifier, which is charisma. And your Repelling Blast lets your Eldritch Blast hit people and blast them to smithereens, which we definitely want that to happen. And we don't have to go into level 3 for right now. And basically, just I say for the first 5 levels of playing Warlock, it's pretty simple. When you switch to this guy in your party or you're playing him in a multiplayer game, you find someone to hex, you know, like our good friend Withers, because unlike everyone else, he doesn't get mad when we bully him. And then that's a terrible reason, by the way. And then you Eldritch Blast him as you, and this helped my friend tremendously because he had a foothold that he can start climbing up in his knowledge of the game, because it is a deep game with a lot of knowledge, but you need a place where you can put your first step on, and having something you can go, well, this is what I'm going to do in my turn while I go look at everybody else or look at other things in my bar, can be a great stress reliever. And once the stress is gone, a lot of people thrive in learning a new game. And the reason I don't suggest Wizard is because it's overwhelming. So, like the reasons I went into, instead of having this clear loop of action and bonus action, Wizard doesn't even have a bonus action at the beginning. And you have to choose between each spell and read each spell on the character level up screen. And going through each one, information, to me, we think we can take in more information than we actually can. And when you're relaying something to somebody else, you think they can take in something, especially something as abstract as starting a new game, can come off as complete Latin to your friend, because you're over here saying, hey, Boom and Blade is a great can rip, and he's like, what's a can rip? What's an action? And why am I even helping my team if I'm doing this? So if you are, and remember, some people are just purely multiplayer gamers because they just like hanging out. So you don't have to put your whole knowledge of your brain. You don't have to put like books of Baldur's Gate 3 combat into someone's head and trying to stuff it in there so they could become just as efficient and optimized as you. And Wizard is no doubt the optimized class. It is the utility belt. It is the Batman of Baldur's Gate 3. It has everything you need because it can learn everything you need in a situation. You can prepare for each battle. And the more knowledge you have of the game, the more stronger a wizard is, because you are just knowing what you need to do, what you need to bring to win that fight. And after hours and hours in the game, that's where I'm at. But someone starting at 0, you're just casting Firebolt over and over, and you're hoping the enemy somehow dies. The wizard isn't bad, but just like Batman, he has no obvious powers to begin with that can totally break the game. But through prep time and preparing yourself for each battle, prep time being key, the wizard can become exactly what you want it to be in any situation. So once you learn the game more and understand the mechanics more and want to know more, and just like in its how it is in Baldur's Gate 3, the higher your intelligence of the game goes up, the better the wizard class is. So when you're ready, come on back to the wizard. But until then, I would pick something else.